What happens is, fishing rod out. The banking cartel keeps interest rates low, enticing more people in, makes loads of loans, reduces the criteria by which they will give a loan, lots of money in circulation, people in more debt. And here's the point. You know when you go for a loan of £50,000, the bank creates, at least in theory on your computer screen, £50,000. That's it. But you're not paying back £50,000, you're paying back £50,000 plus interest. The interest on the £50,000 has not been created, it never is. Therefore, by design, there is never ever enough money in circulation to pay back all the principal and interest on the loans outstanding. Bankruptcy, losing your home, is built in on purpose. So, out goes the fishing line, and then it starts being reeled in. They create an excuse for a credit crunch or a problem, and so what do the banks do? Coordinated through this system of pyramids within pyramids, they start taking money out of circulation. They raise the criteria for giving loans out, which they are now. They raise interest rates, or whatever they need to do to take money out of circulation. Now, as they take money out of circulation, there's even less circulating to pay back all the debt that was created when they put loads of money out there, so people start in massive amounts losing their homes, their jobs, their businesses, their land, their possessions. And so we move over to the depression, the downturn, the recession, and they then start trawling from the people the wealth that does exist, because there's not enough money in circulation, nothing to do with them, they can't pay the non-existent money back. And this economic cycle has been played for centuries, and it has sucked out of the people the real wealth into the hands of the few. And that is such a fundamental part of Big Brother, because it's a fundamental part of human control. Are you listening, David Bloody Davis? I'm sorry if I'm going on, but you've come so far. I want to give you everything I can today, because all these things connect and we need to know about them. If you want a world government which controls everyone on the planet, what do you need more than anything else? You need laws that everyone on the planet has to obey. You need international law. My goodness me, all the time. International law. Good evening. International law. Here's the news. International law. International law. That is the creation of the laws that the world government is intended to introduce. Because international law will be how that controls the lives of everyone, and if you go against international law, that's why the World Army is there to intervene. International law. International law. Global warming. The carbon con. This is a cracker. This is a cracker. You won't hear David Davis and Shami Chakramarty talk about this. In fact, you'll hear them talk about the opposite. I talked earlier about this network, and one of that network is called the Club of Rome, set up in 1968. People like Henry Kissinger, by the way, Henry Kissinger, massively part of this over the decades. He's involved in all of them, and he's involved in the Club of Rome, and it connects into the Rockefellers and all the people I've been talking about. And its job has been to manipulate the environmental movement. In 1991, its founder, the founder of the Club of Rome, Pecci, was quoted as saying in a Club of Rome document, as saying that when they were looking at how to, in effect, do this manipulation, he said, in searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill. Here's another member of the Club of Rome. And that's why the official story of the reason for climate change, carbon emissions caused by humans, is as much a nonsense as the official story of 9/11. It is a problem, and the solution is international law, more and more taxation to save the planet, more and more imposition of the big brother state to save the planet. Now, I'm not saying that pollution's a good thing. Not saying that. But if we're going to get streetwise, we need to understand that it's not causing climate change. Well, I mean, having researched this for nearly 20 years, there's a little thing you start to learn about this guy, Al Gore. If he's involved, it's a scam. End of story, by the way. End of story, by the way. It's a scam. And of course, for his Inconvenient Truth documentary, let's just redesignate what documentary means on that criteria. He was given the Nobel Peace Prize and the Oscar. Why? Because this network controls that. They don't control every Oscar and all the rest of it, but if they need someone to get one, they can make sure they get one. Same with the Nobel Peace Prize. Kissinger won the Nobel Peace Prize. Bloody war criminal.
They're giving it to Blair next.
Yeah, Blair. So, what we've got as a result of all this manipulation, Al Gore, is, you know if it's a scam as well, because Madonna's on the stage singing about it, right? This is the Global Warming Survival Handbook, going with the Live Earth concerts, orchestrated by Al Gore. David de Rothschild wrote that. Very good. I'm sure they care about the planet, as they're lending us money that doesn't exist and trawling the wealth as a result of us not paying it. Now, there's a thing they say about computers. Crap in, crap out, right? If you put garbage into a computer, you get garbage out. That's how the computer models came up with global warming. International law is where it's leading, and this is the cause of global warming. Stands back in amazement. You mean the sun has an effect on Earth temperature? Are you kidding? What happens is, the sun goes in cycles. It generates what are called sunspots, which are massive explosions of energy powered out into the solar system, which comes to the Earth eventually as solar radiation. Some of these explosions, called sunspots, are as big as the Earth and even as big as Jupiter. When it is exploding energy, the temperature goes up. This is what these sunspots are. You can see them here. I think they might have a bearing on temperature. I think so. This is the recent sunspot cycle coming round, all the rest of it. And of course, there are cycles where you have a sunspot cycle going round at this level of temperature, and then you have a cycle going round at this level of temperature. So that as the cycles go round, it's hotter or cooler in the different cycles as we pass through what we call time. Now, other planets in the solar system have been warming up. I don't know whether you've seen them factories on Mars. Them bloody Martians and them 4x4s, it's bloody outrageous. Now, what is the common denominator of these other planets and the Earth? Can't work it out. Must be the sun. Now, this is the great one. The temperature's higher than it's ever been since records began. When did they begin? 1862? That's 5 minutes ago in weather cycles. What are you talking about? Back about 800 years ago, they had the medieval warm period. This is mainstream science. This is not me coming up with alternative stuff. The medieval warm period, the temperature was higher than it is now. Okay? What caused the temperature to be higher in the medieval warm period than it is now? Could it have been turbocharged handcarts? What do you reckon? Could be. Flatulent horses, maybe. I can just see a medieval weather forecaster arriving in the village. Dobbin's got the wind, I think we're in for hot summer.